Here we go, lymphatics again. So, white blood cells. This is going to be a review. Essentially, I'm going to do this really fast. You guys have to go back over the old stuff in order to do it. What was Ben? It was basophils, eosinophils, neutrophils. They were granulocytes. Agranulocytes were lymphocytes and monocytes. Platelets originated from megakaryocytes. Erythrocytes are associated with reticulocytes. This is where they originated from. And these are all from stem cells that are found where? Inside of red bone marrow. The only difference is that your T cells, right, T cells that we talked about, were differentiated inside of the, what? Inside of the thymus. So lymphocytes were B cells, T cells, natural killer cells. Let's move on from there. Rows of leukocytes. We already went over all of these, so I'm not going to do a review on that. You guys have to look back at some of the old videos and make sure that you guys know it. Answer the questions on the study guide, and that's the best way to get the most points and maximize everything. So B cells, T cells, natural killer cells were a part of your lymphocytes, right? And this is another diagram. I'll take a little pause, or you guys can pause it. Moving on. Lymphocyte types. We said B cells, T cells, natural killer cells. Let's continue on from there. This is MALT or GALT. They have multiple ways of saying it. All you have to remember is it's associated lymphoid tissue. That means it's associated with white blood cell, protecting the body from outside pathogens and invaders that are trying to cross your physical barriers that help to prevent them from coming in. Usually you have tonsils. Tonsils that you have to remember are the one by the throat, pharyngeal tonsil, the one by the palate, palatine tonsil, and the one by the tongue, lingual tonsil. Lymphoid or lymph node structure. How I like to look at the lymph node is if there's 3 layers, right, and I have to deal with the in versus the out, then the 3 layers that you kind of see are B cell layer, the very outer cortex is the cover, has the B cells. Now B cells are found on the outside and the inside. The difference is a B cell that has been activated, that means it can produce antibodies, and antibodies are almost like, I remember it as tags. So these guys are specifically called plasma cells. And their job is to send out these little tags. And these tags are called antibodies, AB for short. So antibodies tag the structure that you want somebody else to come in and destroy. So B cells on the outside, they are naive cells. That means they, at that point, have not recognized anything. If an invading foreigner comes in, they recognize it. They'll differentiate into what we call plasma cells. And then the plasma cells will come out and circulate throughout the blood and help to tag the structure so that you can recognize self from non-self, invader from non-invader. In the middle of that are your T cells. They're your destroyers. They're what we call cell-mediated. When we cover immunity, I'll talk a little bit more about what the groupings are, and different textbooks use different terms to describe it. I have an overall pattern so you can kind of see everything. Again, lymph node structure, what's in the very outside? We said the outer was B cells. And the deep cortex have the T cells. And the very inside were your plasma cells. Why? Because they differentiated from your naive B cells. And then the in, afferent, is the in. Efferent is the exit. Afferent toward, efferent for exit. And some of the glands associated, the thymus, it's a huge, really important structure that's associated with white blood cell maturation for T cells. Thymus is located above the heart, and be careful because it is not the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland is associated with metabolism. Thymus is associated with white blood cells. And some structures you guys don't need to really consider. The spleen, yes, that is really important. The spleen has 2 colors to it. It has white pulp and it has red pulp. What do you think the white pulp is associated with? White blood cells. Very simple. What do you think the red pulp is associated with? Red blood cells. I don't even have to draw that out. Let's go back to the structure. So spleen is a really good storage unit for white blood cells and red blood cells. And like I said, red pulp is associated with erythrocytes or red blood cells. White pulp is associated with lymphocytes or white blood cells. What are the three lymphocytes? B cells, T cells, natural killers. Very good. And that is it for now.